Hello, everyone. I'm so happy you're here today. Thank you for spending this time with me. Today, I want to ask you a question. Have you ever felt that your English is not improving? Maybe you study every day. You listen to English. You learn new words. You watch videos. You read books. You try many things. But one day, you stop and think, why am I still here? Why is English still difficult? Why can't I speak easily? Why am I not improving? Maybe you have asked these questions many times. And maybe you started to think something was wrong with you. Can I tell you something? Maybe nothing is wrong with you. Maybe the problem is not how hard you are trying. Maybe the problem is where your energy's going. Can we think about one young man? He wanted to reach the top of a mountain. Every morning, he put on his shoes. He packed his bag. Then he started walking. He walked for hours. He worked hard. He became tired. But every evening, he returned to the same place. One day, an old man saw him. "Where are you going?" "To the top of the mountain." The old man looked surprised. "Then why are you walking in circles?" The young man stopped. "In circles?" "Yes. You are working very hard. But you are not walking toward the top." The young man looked at the road. For the first time, he understood. His problem was not effort. His problem was direction. Can I ask you something? Could English learning be like that? Maybe you are working hard, but some of your habits are keeping you in the same place. You study. You try. You become tired. Then you wonder why nothing changes. Today, I want to share 7 reasons your English may not be improving. These reasons are simple, but sometimes simple things are difficult to see. Maybe one reason is slowing you down. Maybe 2. Maybe more. That is okay. You do not need to feel bad. You only need to look at your road. Then, if you need to change direction, change it. You have not failed. You are still walking. So let us begin with the first reason your English may not be improving. You choose English that is too difficult. Can I ask you something? What happens when you choose an English video and understand almost nothing? Maybe people speak too quickly. There are many new words. The sentences are long. You listen for 5 minutes. Then, you feel tired. But you tell yourself, this is good for me. Difficult English will make me better. Can we think about one little boy? He wanted to learn how to swim. On his first day, he went to a swimming pool. There was a small pool. The water was not deep. There was also a very deep pool. The boy looked at the deep pool. "I want to learn there." His teacher shook her head. "Let's begin here." The boy pointed at the deep water. "But good swimmers swim there." The teacher smiled. "Yes, good swimmers." The boy became quiet. The teacher continued. "First, learn where you can stand." The boy entered the small pool. He learned how to move his arms. He learned how to kick. He learned how to breathe. Little by little, he became stronger. Can I ask you something? What would happen if the teacher put him in deep water on the first day? Would he learn faster? Probably not. He might become afraid. English can be the same. Many learners choose English that is too difficult. They understand 10%, maybe 20%. They stop every few seconds. They search for every word. Then, they become tired. They think, my English is bad. But maybe their English is not the problem. Maybe the water is too deep. Can I tell you one more thing? Easy English is not bad English. Easy English gives you a place to stand. When you understand many words, you can notice sentences. You can hear phrases again. You can follow the story. And most importantly, you want to continue. Children do not begin with difficult books. They hear simple language again and again. Then, they slowly move forward. Maybe we can do the same. Choose English you can understand. Not every word, but enough. Enough to follow the story. Enough to enjoy it. Enough to return tomorrow. That is the first reason your English may not be improving. You choose English that is too difficult. And the simple answer: do not try to swim in deep water before you learn where you can stand. The second reason your English may not be improving is that you only listen and never speak. Can I ask you something? How much English enters your ears every day? Maybe a lot. You listen to stories. You watch videos. You hear English songs? But how much English comes out of your mouth? Maybe very little. Can we think about one young woman? She wanted to learn how to cook. Every evening, she watched cooking videos. She watched people cut vegetables. She watched people make soup. She watched people bake bread. After 1 year, she knew many things about cooking. One day, her friend came to visit. "Can you make dinner?" The woman became nervous. "I don't know." Her friend looked surprised. "But you watch cooking videos every day." "Yes." "Then why can't you cook?" The woman thought for a moment. "I never tried." Can I ask you something? Could your English be like that? You know many things. You understand simple stories. You know grammar. You know words. But speaking is something your mouth needs to practice. Listening is important. Very important. But listening alone cannot do everything. At some point, you need to use your voice. Can I tell you one more thing? Imagine learning to ride a bicycle. You can watch 100 videos about bicycles. You can learn how the wheels move. You can learn how to use the brakes. But one day, you need to sit on the bicycle. You need to move. You may fall. You may feel strange. That is part of learning. Speaking English can feel strange too. Your mouth may move slowly. Words may not come easily. You may make mistakes. That is okay. You are practicing. You do not need to speak for 1 hour. Say one sentence. Then another. Talk to yourself. Repeat a phrase. Read something out loud. Give your English a way to come outside. Children listen a lot. But they also try to speak. They use small words. They make mistakes. Then they try again. Maybe we can do the same. Do not wait until your English is perfect before you speak. Speaking is part of how your English grows. That is the second reason your English may not be improving. You only listen and never speak. And the simple answer: do not only fill your mind with English. Give your voice a chance to use it. The third reason your English may not be improving is that you keep collecting new words. Can I ask you something? How many English words have you studied? Maybe hundreds. Maybe thousands. You have notebooks full of words. You have word lists. You have apps. Every day, you add more. But when you try to speak, you use the same simple words. Why? Can we think about one man? He loved buying books. Every weekend, he went to a bookstore. He bought 3 books, sometimes 5. His house was full of books. One day, his friend visited him. "Wow, you have so many books." The man smiled. "Yes, Which one is your favorite? The man became quiet. I don't know. Why not? I haven't read them yet. His friend looked surprised. Then why do you keep buying more? The man looked around the room. For the first time, he saw the problem. Can I ask you something? Could your English words be like those books? You collect them, but you do not spend enough time with them. You learn a new word, then another, but you do not use the first word. Soon, you forget it. Can I tell you something? Knowing a word is not the same as using a word. A word becomes stronger when you meet it again, when you hear it, when you say it, when you make a sentence with it. Imagine meeting a person one time. You may forget their name, but what if you meet them every week? Soon, you remember them easily. Words can be the same. Maybe you do not need 20 new words today. Maybe you need 5 old words. Use them. Say them. Write simple sentences. Meet them again tomorrow. Children use the same words many times. They do not try to learn 100 new words every morning. They hear old words. They use old words. Then, slowly, new words join them. Maybe we can do the same. Stop asking, how many new words did I learn? Sometimes ask, how many words did I use? That question may help you more. That is the third reason your English may not be improving. You keep collecting new words. And the simple answer, do not only collect English words. Give the words you already know a job to do. The fourth reason your English may not be improving is that you change your study method too often. Can I ask you something? How many ways have you tried to learn English? Maybe you used an app. Then you stopped. You bought a grammar book. Then you stopped. You watched videos. Then you found a new teacher. Then a new method. Then another app. Every few weeks, you begin again. Can we think about one farmer? He wanted to find water, so he began digging a hole. He dug for 1 hour. No water. He moved to another place. He dug again. No water. Then he moved again. 1 hole. Then another. Then another. At the end of the day, there were many small holes, but no water. An old farmer walked by. What are you doing? I'm looking for water. The old farmer looked at all the holes. Why don't you keep digging in one place? The man shook his head. Maybe there is no water there. The old farmer smiled. And maybe you stop before you reach it. Can I ask you something? Could your English study be like those holes? You try one method, but you do not see quick results. So you change. Then you change again and again. You are always beginning, but you never stay long enough to go deeper. Can I tell you one more thing? There is no perfect English method. Listening helps. Reading helps. Speaking helps. Repeating helps. But these things need time. A new method feels exciting. You feel motivated. This will change everything. Then, after 2 weeks, learning feels normal again. You become bored, so you search for something new. But maybe boredom does not mean the method is bad. Maybe it means the exciting beginning is over. Now the real work can begin. Think about a road. If you change roads every 10 minutes, you may never reach any town. Sometimes, you need to choose a road. Then stay on it. You can make small changes. You can improve your plan. But do not begin your whole journey again every week. Children do not change languages every month because learning is slow. They stay. They listen. They repeat. They continue. Maybe we can learn something from that. Choose a simple way to study. Easy listening. Simple speaking. Useful phrases. Regular practice. Then, give it time. 1 month. 3 months. Long enough to see what happens. That is the fourth reason your English may not be improving. You change your study method too often. And the simple answer: do not spend all your time looking for a better road. Sometimes, you need to keep walking on the road you already chose. The fifth reason your English may not be improving is that you wait until you feel ready. Can I ask you something? How long have you been waiting? Maybe you want to speak English, but you think, I need more words first. I need better grammar. I need better pronunciation. Then I will speak. So you study. You learn more words. You learn more grammar. But when the chance to speak comes, you still feel afraid. I'm not ready yet. Can we think about one young man? He wanted to learn how to play the piano. He bought a beautiful piano. He bought books about music. He watched videos. He learned the names of the notes. Every evening, he sat beside the piano, but he did not play. One day, his friend came to visit. Why don't you play something? The young man shook his head. I'm not ready. His friend looked surprised. When will you be ready? When I know more. 1 month passed. Then 6 months. The young man learned many things about music. But still, he did not play. One afternoon, a little girl came into the room. She saw the piano. Can I try? The young man smiled. Do you know how to play? No. The girl sat down. She touched one key, then another. The sounds were strange. She laughed. She tried again. The young man watched her. The girl knew almost nothing. But she was playing. Can I ask you something? Who was closer to becoming a piano player? The person who knew many things but never played? Or the person who began before she was ready? English can be the same. You may never feel completely ready. There will always be another word to learn, another grammar rule, another sound to practice. If you wait until you know everything, you may wait forever. Can I tell you one more thing? Think about learning to walk. A baby does not wait until its legs are strong enough to walk perfectly. The baby stands, falls, stands again, takes one step, then another. The strength comes through trying. Speaking English can grow the same way. You speak. You make a mistake. You learn. Then you speak again. You do not become ready first. Sometimes, you become ready by beginning. So stop waiting for the perfect moment. Use the English you have today. Say one simple sentence. Ask one easy question. Try. Your English does not need to be finished before you use it. That is the fifth reason your English may not be improving. You wait until you feel ready. And the simple answer: do not wait for confidence to come before you begin. Sometimes, confidence comes because you began. The sixth reason your English may not be improving is that you compare yourself with other learners. Can I ask you something? Have you ever watched someone speak English well, then felt bad about yourself? Maybe they speak quickly. Maybe they know many words. Maybe their pronunciation sounds natural. You look at them. Then you look at yourself. Why can't I speak like that? Why am I so slow? Maybe I'm not good at English. Can we think about two brothers? They both wanted to grow flowers. The older brother planted sunflower seeds. The younger brother planted small flower seeds. Every morning, they went outside. After some time, the sunflowers grew quickly. They became tall. The younger brother looked at his plants. They were still small. He became disappointed. Why are my flowers so slow? His brother smiled. They are different flowers. But the younger brother continued comparing. Every day, he looked at the tall sunflowers. Then he looked at his small plants. One morning, he said, "My flowers are bad." Their grandmother heard him. She walked over. "Why do you say that? Look at his flowers. They are much taller." The grandmother smiled. "Do your flowers need to become sunflowers?" The boy looked confused. "No." "Then why are you asking them to grow like sunflowers?" The boy became quiet. Weeks passed. Then, his small plants began to open. Beautiful flowers appeared. Many different colors. The boy smiled. His flowers had not failed. They were simply growing in a different way. Can I ask you something? Could English learners be like those flowers? Someone speaks well because they have practiced for 10 years. Someone has more free time. Someone uses English at work. Someone lives in another country. Someone learns quickly. Someone needs more repetition. Our lives are different. Our minds are different. So our progress will look different too. Can I tell you one more thing? Comparison can make real progress feel like failure. Maybe you learned 20 useful words this month. That is progress. But then, you meet someone who learned 100. Suddenly, your 20 words feel small. But did your progress disappear? No. You only stopped looking at it. Children do not all learn at the same speed. One child speaks early. Another speaks later. But both can grow. Maybe we can remember that. Other learners can inspire you. You can learn from them. But do not use their progress to hurt yourself. Look at your own road. Ask, what can I do now that I could not do before? That question is more useful. Maybe you understand more. Maybe you speak a little faster. Maybe you are less afraid. That matters. That is the sixth reason your English may not be improving. You compare yourself with other learners. And the simple answer, do not measure your road with someone else's steps. Look at where you started. Then keep walking. The seventh reason your English may not be improving is that you do not continue long enough. Can I ask you something? How long do you try something before you stop? 1 week? 1 month? 3 months? Maybe you begin with excitement. This time will be different. You study every day. You work hard. Then, nothing big happens. You still make mistakes. You still forget words. You still feel slow. So you think, this isn't working. And you stop. Can we think about one little boy? He wanted to grow carrots. His grandfather gave him some seeds. The boy planted them in the ground. The next morning, he ran outside. He looked at the ground. Nothing. The next day, he looked again. Nothing. After 1 week, the boy became tired of waiting. He took a small shovel. His grandfather saw him. "What are you doing?" "I'm going to find my carrots." The grandfather laughed. "They aren't ready, but I can't see anything. That doesn't mean nothing is happening." The boy looked at the ground. "What do you mean?" His grandfather smiled. "Some growth begins where you cannot see it." The boy became quiet. He put down the shovel. Then, he waited. He gave the ground water. He returned every day. One morning, Small green leaves appeared. The boy shouted, "Grandpa, it's working!" His grandfather smiled. It was working before you could see it. Can I ask you something? Could your English be growing where you cannot see it? Maybe your ears are slowly learning English sounds. Maybe common phrases are becoming more familiar. Maybe your mind is connecting words faster. But because there is no big change, you think nothing is happening. Can I tell you one more thing? Many learners stop just before their small actions have time to grow. They listen for 1 month, then stop. They speak for 2 weeks, then stop. They try one method, then change it. They keep pulling the seed out of the ground to see if it is growing. But growth needs time. English needs time too. Not only days, not only weeks. Often, years. That may not sound exciting, but it is true. And there is something beautiful about it. You do not need to become fluent tomorrow. You only need to continue today, then return tomorrow. Give your English enough time to change. That is the 7th reason your English may not be improving. You do not continue long enough. And the simple answer: do not stop because you cannot see the result yet. Some growth begins before you can see it. Now, we have talked about 7 reasons. You choose English that is too difficult. You only listen and never speak. You keep collecting new words. You change your study method too often. You wait until you feel ready. You compare yourself with other learners. And you do not continue long enough. Can I ask you something? Which reason feels most familiar to you? Maybe you choose difficult English because you want to improve quickly. Maybe you listen every day but rarely use your voice. Maybe your notebook is full of new words you never use. Maybe you keep searching for a better way to study. Maybe you are still waiting to feel ready. Maybe someone else's progress makes you feel small. Or maybe you simply stopped too soon. Can we think about one man? He wanted to travel to a town far away. He had a map. He had good shoes. He had enough food. He began walking. After 1 hour, he saw another road. Maybe this road is faster. So he changed roads. Later, he saw another traveler. The traveler was walking quickly. The man thought, "I need to walk like him." So he ran. Soon, he became tired. Then he saw a beautiful new road. Maybe this road is better. He changed again. At the end of the day, he looked at his map. He was almost where he had started. An old traveler sat beside the road. The man asked, "Why am I not getting closer?" The old traveler smiled. "How many roads did you walk today?" "Many." "And how long did you stay on one road?" The man became quiet. "Can I ask you something?" Maybe learning English sometimes feels like that. We do many things. We work hard, but we do not stay with one useful direction. We change. We compare. We hurry. We stop. Then, we wonder why the town still feels far away. Can I tell you something? More effort is not always the answer. Sometimes, you need a clearer direction. Choose English you can understand. Use your voice. Use the words you already know. Stay with a simple method. Begin before you feel ready. Walk your own road. Then, give it time. These things are not exciting secrets. They are simple. But simple things can be powerful when you continue doing them. Can I tell you one more thing? A person can run very fast in the wrong direction. Another person can walk slowly in the right direction. After enough time, who will be closer to the place they want to go? Maybe your English does not need you to run faster. Maybe it needs you to look at the road. Choose a direction, then keep walking. Can I share another story with you? There was a woman who wanted to make a beautiful piece of cloth. She bought a small machine. Every evening, she worked for 20 minutes. The first day, the cloth was very short. After 1 week, it was still small. Her friend visited. "You work every day?" "Yes." "But you have made only this much?" The woman smiled. "Yes." Her friend laughed. "That will take forever." The woman continued. Every evening, 20 minutes. Some days, she was tired. She worked for only 10. Some days, she made mistakes. She fixed them, then continued. Months passed. One afternoon, her friend returned. The woman opened a large box. Inside, there was a beautiful piece of cloth. Her friend looked surprised. "When did you make all of this?" The woman smiled. "A little every day." "Can I ask you something? Why do small actions feel so weak in the beginning?" "Because we see only today. We see 10 minutes, one sentence, one story, one small step. We do not see what happens when those small things stay together for a long time." Can I tell you one more thing? Time can make small actions powerful. One drop of water feels like nothing, but many drops can fill a large bowl. One page feels small, but many pages can become a book. One English sentence feels small, but many sentences can become a conversation. The problem is not always that your practice is too small. Sometimes, the problem is that you stop before the small things have time to join together. So do not laugh at your simple practice. Do not say, "This is too little." Ask, "Can I continue?" Because a small action that continues can become stronger than a big action that disappears. Can I ask you another question? What if your English is improving, but you are looking for the wrong kind of change? Maybe you are waiting to speak perfectly, so you do not notice that you understand more. Maybe you are waiting to know every word, so you do not notice that you can follow a story. Maybe you are waiting to speak quickly, so you do not notice that you are less afraid to speak. Can we think about one woman? Every morning, she walked the same road near her house. She wanted to become healthier. After 1 week, she looked in the mirror. No change. After 1 month, she looked again. Still no change. She became disappointed. One day, she walked up a long hill. At the top, she stopped. Something felt different. She was not as tired as before. Then she remembered. 1 month ago, she had stopped 3 times while walking up that hill. Today, she had not stopped once. She smiled. She had been looking for change in the mirror, but the change was somewhere else. Can I ask you something? Could you be doing the same with English? Maybe you are looking only at speaking, but your listening has improved. Maybe you are looking only at vocabulary, but simple sentences come faster. Maybe you still make mistakes, but now you notice them. That is progress too. Can I tell you something? Progress does not always arrive in the form you expect. Sometimes, it is quieter. A sentence feels easier. A word returns faster. A story feels less difficult. You speak even though you are afraid. These small changes matter. Do not miss them because you are waiting for one big moment. Look carefully. Your English may be moving in ways you have not noticed yet. Can I share one more story with you? There was a little girl who loved making puzzles. One day, Her father gave her a large puzzle. There were hundreds of pieces. The girl opened the box. She looked at all the pieces. "This is impossible." Her father smiled. "Find one piece." The girl found one. "Now what?" "Find another." She found another. Little by little, she began. After 1 hour, most of the table was still empty. The girl sighed. "I worked so long. But look, there's still so much left." Her father pointed at one corner. "What about that?" The girl looked. A small part of the picture was finished. She smiled. The next day, she returned. Then the next, one piece. Then another. One afternoon, she put in the final piece. She looked at the whole picture. "I did it." Her father smiled. "How?" The girl laughed. "One piece at a time." Can I ask you something? Maybe English feels impossible because you are looking at the whole puzzle. All the words you do not know. All the grammar you have not learned. All the conversations you cannot have yet. The empty table looks very big, but you do not need to finish everything today. Find one piece. Listen to one story. Use one phrase. Say one sentence. Then, come back. Find another piece. Can I tell you one more thing? The picture becomes clear because the pieces stay. If you put one piece down, then throw it away, then begin another puzzle, you will never see the picture. Maybe that is why direction and time are so important. Choose your puzzle. Keep your pieces. Continue. One day, you may look at your English and realize something. The picture has been growing all along. You were simply too close to see it. Can I ask you something? What do you do when your English does not seem to improve? Maybe you study more. You buy another book. You find another video. You learn more words. You make a bigger plan. You tell yourself, I need to work harder. But what if working harder is not always the answer? Can we think about one man? He had a small boat. Every morning, he took the boat onto a lake. He wanted to reach a small island. The island was far away, so he began to row. He worked hard. His arms moved quickly. Water moved around the boat. After 1 hour, he was tired. He looked up. The island was still far away. The next morning, he returned. This time, he rowed even harder. His arms hurt. His back hurt. But he continued. After 2 hours, he looked up again. The island was still far away. An old fisherman was watching him. Why are you working so hard? The man looked surprised. I want to reach the island. The fisherman looked at the boat. Then he smiled. Your boat is tied to the tree. The man looked behind him. A long rope connected his boat to a tree near the water. He had never noticed it. Can I ask you something? What was the problem? Was the man lazy? No. Was he weak? No. He worked very hard. But something was holding him in the same place. Could your English be like that? Maybe you are studying. Maybe you are trying. Maybe you are tired. But one small habit is holding you back. Maybe the English you choose is too difficult. Maybe you never use your voice. Maybe you collect words but do not use them. Maybe you change your method every few weeks. Maybe you are waiting to feel ready. Maybe you compare yourself with everyone. Or maybe you simply stop too soon. Can I tell you something? Sometimes the answer is not to row harder. Sometimes you need to find the rope. Look at what is holding you. Then change one thing, only one. You do not need a new life. You do not need a perfect plan. You may only need a better direction. The man untied the rope. Then he began to row again. This time, the boat moved. Can I ask you something? Maybe your English can move too. Not because you suddenly become smarter. Not because you study for 5 hours. But because you stop doing one thing that keeps you in the same place. Can I share another story with you? There was a young woman who wanted to learn English. She studied every evening. But she had one problem. She always chose difficult books. She believed difficult English would help her improve faster. Every night, she opened a book. She read one page. There were many words she did not know. She stopped. She searched for a word, then another, then another. After 30 minutes, she was tired. She had read only one page. One evening, she closed the book. I can't do this anymore. The next day, she visited a small library. An old librarian saw her looking at the English books. Can I help you? The woman smiled. I need an English book. What kind? A difficult one. The librarian laughed. Why? Because I want to improve. The librarian looked at her for a moment. Then she gave her a thin book. The woman looked disappointed. This looks too easy. Try it. The woman took the book home. That evening, she began to read. One page, then another, then another. She understood the story. She wanted to know what happened next. For the first time in many months, she forgot she was studying English. She simply read. The next evening, she returned to the story. Then again the next day. After 1 month, she had finished 3 easy books. Can I ask you something? Did her English improve because she worked harder? No. She changed direction. She stopped fighting with English every evening. She found something she could continue. Can I tell you one more thing? A small change in direction can take you to a very different place. Imagine 2 roads. At the beginning, they are very close. One road moves a little to the left. The other moves a little to the right. After 1 step, the difference is small. After 100 steps, the roads are far apart. Your habits can work the same way. One small change may not feel important today. Choosing easier English, speaking for 1 minute, using old words, staying with one method, beginning before you feel ready, looking at your own progress, continuing for another month. These things feel small, but time can make a small direction very powerful. Can I ask you something? What is one direction you can change? Do not try to change all 7 things today. Choose one. Maybe your English is too difficult. Choose something easier. Maybe you never speak. Say 3 sentences. Maybe you collect too many words. Use 5 old words today. Small changes are easier to continue. And what you continue can change where you go. Can I share another story with you? There was a boy who practiced throwing a ball into a basket. Every afternoon, he stood in the same place. He threw the ball. It missed. He tried again. It missed again. Day after day, he practiced. But something strange happened. He never became better. One afternoon, a coach watched him. The boy threw the ball. It missed. Again. It missed. The coach walked over. How long have you practiced like this? 3 months. Every day? Yes. The coach nodded. Show me again. The boy threw the ball. The coach watched carefully. Then he said, "Move your hand like this." He showed the boy a small change. The boy tried again. The ball missed. He tried again. Still missed. But this time, it came closer. The next day, the boy returned. He practiced the new movement. Again and again. 1 week later, more balls went into the basket. Can I ask you something? What did the boy need? More effort? He was already working hard. More time? He had already practiced for months. He needed to look at how he was practicing. Can I tell you something? Practice is important, but repeating the same problem every day may not help you. Sometimes, you need to stop. Look, think, then make a small change. Maybe you listen every day. Good. But do you understand what you hear? Maybe you study words every day. Good. But do you use them? Maybe you watch English videos. Good. But do you ever speak? Maybe you study for 2 hours on Sunday. Good. But do you return on Monday? These questions are not here to make you feel bad. They are here to help you see your road. Can I tell you one more thing? A mirror does not change your face. It only helps you see it. Looking at your study habits can be like looking in a mirror. You may see something you want to change. That is okay. Now you know. And when you know, you can choose something different. So do not be afraid to look at your habits. Ask yourself, what is helping me? What is making English harder? What can I change? Then choose one small answer. And try again. Can I ask you another question? What if you are already doing many things right? What if your English is improving, but you cannot see it yet? Can we think about one man who built a stone wall? Every morning, he carried stones from a field. He put one stone down, then another. He worked slowly. At the end of the first day, the wall was very small. After 1 week, it was still low. People walked past him. One person asked, "When will you finish?" The man smiled. "I don't know. Doesn't that worry you?" "No." "Why not?" The man picked up another stone. "Because I know what I need to do today." Months passed. The man continued. Some days, he worked for hours. Some days, he placed only 2 stones, but the stones stayed. 1 year later, the wall was long and strong. A young boy looked at it. "How did you build such a big wall?" The man smiled. "I never built a big wall." The boy looked confused. "What do you mean?" "I only put down 1 stone, then another." Can I ask you something? Maybe you are waiting to feel your English become big. But growth often happens in small pieces. One word stays. One phrase becomes easier. One sound becomes clearer. One story becomes easier to follow. Then another. You may not notice these changes because you are looking for the whole wall. Can I tell you one more thing? Do not only ask, "Am I fluent yet?" That question can hide your progress. Ask smaller questions. Do I understand more than last year? Can I speak with less fear? Can I use words I once only studied? Can I follow an easy story? Do I return more often? These changes matter. Maybe the wall is already growing. You simply need to look closer. And if the wall is not growing, that is useful to know too. Maybe you need a different stone. Maybe you need a better direction. But do not destroy everything because the wall is not finished. Look at what you have built, then continue from there. Can I share another story with you? There were two young women learning English. The first woman wanted fast results. Every month, she changed her plan. In January, she studied grammar. In February, she learned long word lists. In March, she watched difficult movies. In April, she bought a new course. Every month felt exciting. Every month felt new. The second woman had a simple plan. She listened to easy English. She repeated useful phrases. She spoke to herself. She read simple stories. Her plan was not exciting. Some days, she felt bored. Some days, she wondered if she should change everything. But she continued. 1 year later, the two women met. The first woman said, "I studied so many things." The second woman smiled. "So did I." The first woman asked, "How is your English now?" The second woman answered in English. Slowly, simply, but comfortably. The first woman looked surprised. "How did you do that?" The second woman thought for a moment. "I stayed." Can I ask you something? Could that be one of the most important words in learning? Stay. Stay with easy English long enough to understand more. Stay with speaking long enough to feel less afraid. Stay with useful words long enough to remember them. Stay with a simple method long enough to see what it can do. Stay on your own road. Stay when progress feels slow. Can I tell you something? Staying does not mean never changing. If something is not helping, change it. If the road is wrong, choose another. But do not confuse slow progress with no progress. Do not leave every road because the town is not close after 1 hour. Some journeys are long. English is one of them. Can I tell you one more thing? Patience is not doing nothing. Patience is continuing while the result is still small. It is listening again, speaking again, trying again, returning again, even when you cannot see the whole picture yet. That kind of patience can change your English. Can I ask you something? What would happen if you chose one simple plan and stayed with it for 1 year? Not perfectly, not every day, but often. Easy English, useful phrases, simple speaking, regular practice. 1 year? Would your English be the same? Probably not. The change may be slow, but slow change is still change. Can we think about one old clock? It stood in a small house. Every second, the hands moved. The movement was tiny, almost impossible to see. A little boy watched the clock. It's not moving. His grandfather smiled. Wait. The boy watched. After 1 minute, the hand was somewhere else. The boy looked surprised. It moved. His grandfather nodded. It was moving the whole time. Can I ask you something? Could your English be like that clock? Maybe you look every day. Am I better? Did I improve? Why can't I see it? You are standing too close to the second hand. Give it time. Then look again. Maybe you will notice that English sounds more familiar. Maybe you will understand a sentence without translating. Maybe you will answer a question more quickly. Maybe you will make a mistake and continue speaking. Small movements, but movements. Can I tell you one more thing? You do not need to watch the clock every second. Do the work. Live your life. Return tomorrow. Then one day, look back. You may be surprised by where the hands have moved. Before we finish our story, can we return to the young man from the beginning? He wanted to reach the top of a mountain. Every morning, he walked for hours. But every evening, He returned to the same place. Then an old man showed him something. He was walking in circles. Imagine the next morning. The young man returned to the mountain. But this time, he stopped before he began. He looked at the road. He looked at his map. He chose one direction. Then, he started walking. He did not run. He did not try 10 roads. He did not watch every other traveler. He simply walked. After 1 hour, he was tired. The top was still far away. For a moment, he thought, maybe this isn't working. Then he looked behind him. The place where he started was far below. He smiled. He was moving. So he continued. One step, then another. The next day, he returned. Then again. Some days were easy. Some days were difficult. Sometimes, he walked quickly. Sometimes, slowly. But he stayed on the road. One morning, after a long time, he reached the top. Can I ask you one final question? What changed? Did the mountain become smaller? No. Did the young man suddenly become stronger? No. He found the right direction. Then he continued long enough. Maybe your English needs the same thing. Not more pressure. Not another big plan. Not a new method every week. A useful direction. And enough time. Choose English you can understand. Use your voice. Use the words you already know. Stay with a simple method. Begin before you feel ready. Walk your own road. And continue. Can I tell you one final thing? If your English is not improving, do not immediately say, I'm bad at English. Look at your road first. Maybe you are working hard in the wrong direction. Maybe something small is holding your boat. Maybe you are changing roads too often. Maybe you are looking at someone else's mountain. Maybe you are stopping before the clock has time to move. These things can change. You can choose again. You can begin again. You can take one better step today, then another tomorrow. You do not need to fix everything. Find one reason. Make one change. Give it time. Then watch what happens. English is a long road. That is not bad. Long roads give small steps time to become powerful. So do not only work harder, look at your direction. Do not only collect more. Use what you have. Do not only wait. Begin. Do not only compare. Walk. Do not only search. Stay. And when progress feels slow, remember the clock. Remember the wall. Remember the mountain. Small movement is still movement. One useful step is still a step. And a person who continues in the right direction can travel very far. Thank you for spending this time with me. Thank you for listening. Thank you for learning. And thank you for continuing your journey. Look at your road. Choose your direction. Take one step. Then, give that step enough time to become a journey. See you in the next story.